Hi everyone, the Lone Wolf here, and welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the market in EVE Online. Now for this week, I got a request over Twitter to do a little bit of promotion for a book that is being written by Andrew Groen, and he's writing a history of the great empires of EVE Online. This will be a book that explores politics, warfare, betrayal, and the culture that shaped the first decade of EVE Online. I think it's a pretty awesome project, and so I'm happy to show you guys the way to evehistory.com. Over there you can pre-order the book, and you will also find a link to the Kickstarter page. Now the Kickstarter has already been funded successfully, very successfully I would say, with more than 700% funded and 3,000 backers. I think it's already been quite successful, but you can find all necessary information on there, what the book will be about the writer, and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I'd say check out evehistory.com and check out this upcoming book, A History of the Great Empires of EVE Online. Sounds very interesting. We're here for the market, so let us start as always with a plex, and I'm writing down 115 for that. So plex, as you can see from the 1 month chart here, have been decently stable in the last few weeks, holding just below 795, but in the last few half hour or so I would say, because one of the neighbors is working with a circular saw and he's been really messing up the recordings. They've actually already gone up to like 797 for the sell orders. Now supply demand is very active in the plex market, so it's hard to say whether or not this is going to continue on this trend for the upcoming week, but it does look like we have a very slow uptrend towards 800 million once again. Now in my opinion, Oceanus is not going to change this dynamic because there are no nullsec changes in there. So it was announced in the new EVE Online TV show called 07 that they are working on some nullsec changes, but they will not be deployed in Oceanus. Instead, they will be deployed in one of the 2 other releases that are left for this year. And I think that could actually be some information that you want to keep an eye out if you want to know what plexes are going to do. So if they're actually really good changes that will invigorate nullsec, this might bring a lot of people back into the game. And this could have a serious impact on the plex market, but at the moment I would say a very slow uptrend is where it's still at. Plex are extremely popular to protect your game time basically against inflation. You know, it's something that tends to go up over time slowly, but keep an eye on those nullsec changes if you want to have an idea or maybe a handle on what the plex market might be doing. But at the moment, slow and steady, slightly upwards towards 800 million. Let's move on to minerals then. We'll start out with titanium, and that's at like 315. As you can see here from the 1 month chart, titanium is trying to go up, starting at 536, ending up close to 550. If we go and have a look here at supply demand, you can see that 2 billion, 1 billion, 1 billion, 2 of these less than 24 hours old, so there is still more demand than supply right here in the titanium market, which explains this upward trend, and at the moment it doesn't look like that's going to end anytime soon. If we take a look at the pyrite chart here, it's been going up for most of the month, but in the last week or so I would say it's been holding on just at around the 11.4 ISK for pyrite. Supply demand, look at that, 182 million, 153 million, 300, 500 million. I'm seeing more demand than supply, but there is one huge sell order here at 1.8 billion units coming in at 11.51. That is probably putting a little bit of a ceiling on the price until the market chews through that number. And so I think pyrite is looking to go sideways for at least another week or so. But the upwards pressure I do think is still there, although it's not as pronounced as what we've seen in the titanium numbers. Let's move on to Mexalon here. That one is clearly taking off, starting the month at 56 ISK, ending at 72. That's not insignificant. 72.5 for the sellers, 70.62 for the buyers, and I'm still seeing bigger numbers here: 200 million, 70 million, 20 million. Nothing bigger than 10 million on the sell orders page, so that upwards pressure is obviously here for the high-sec minerals. The final one is Isogen, but pretty similar story here, starting at 126, ending at 134. And here 13 million, 14 million, those are two pretty big recent orders. It's not as pronounced again. Megasite is really the winner here, because you're still seeing 5 million, 9 million coming in here as well. So Isogen might start to slow down if these numbers do still materialize in the upcoming days as well. But the general trend for high-sec minerals is clearly up, with way more demand than supply at the moment. Let's move on then to null-sec ones. Here is the Zydrine chart, pretty much stable for the entire month, but really reaching a very low point of 420 twice, then moving up back to 465, but here already at the tail end you can see that it's slowing down once again. Let me see here, 465 for the sellers, 454 for the buyers. Numbers wise, yeah, here 4 million, 6 million. You are seeing a bit more supply than demand here, although it's not that big anymore. I do think we're starting to come close to a bottom for Zydrine. And so that's why we're seeing a little bit more of a mixed chart here with downward spurs towards 420, slight corrections that don't last long. Zydrine is probably trying to find a bottom, but it's still very hard to do. And I think the reason for that, if I go for the Megasite chart, that one is still going down with no end in sight, starting to get close to 820, so that's actually pretty bad for people that are producing and selling Megasite. 809 for the buyers, 828 for the sellers, and if I look at the numbers, still 4 million, 3.4 million coming in, which is yeah, here we have 4 million trying at 808, so it's starting to come back into a more balanced form. But at the moment, if I go for instance for the 1 year chart, started off at 1700 and now it's trending towards 800 ISK for Megasite. That's just very low. That's pretty much a crash for the market since Cryos, and still no end in sight. So from supply demand, it could finally start to slow down, but we've seen that in the last few weeks here as well if I go for this 1 month chart. But the general trend is still going down for Megasite, and I actually started the investment here at the beginning of the month, moving in at around 940, 950. It's already as low as 820, so in order to make up for that investment, I should probably pick up some more at the moment. But yeah, there you go guys, Megasite still going down, no end in sight. Let's have a look at Morphite here. That one's also down here. In fact, in the last few weeks or days and week or so, really been going down towards 5,500, which is very low. 5,500 for the buyers, 5,600 for the sellers. Except for that one big buyer at 1.7 million, I'm still seeing a bit more sellers than buyers. So yeah, if I also go for the 1 year chart here, pretty much a crash down for Morphite as well, starting at 7,600 and ending up at 5,500, 5,600. That's a serious correction as well, and Cryos I think has been the trigger for Morphite too. So if I look at the mineral market at the moment, high-sec minerals are going up, there's more demand there. Null-sec minerals are actually still going down and have corrected quite substantially on a 1 year or 6 month basis. Let's have a look at impact on Tech 1 chips then, and that is at 840. We'll just touch on this, but if I go for the 1 month chart here for the Caracal, Caracal in the first half of the month went up quite significantly from 9.6 to 10.7 million. It corrected back here towards 9.9 million, and now it's holding on at around the 10 million mark. I think there is a little bit more supply here. Look at that, 38, 20, 139 of them. So that's probably going to put a ceiling on the price. It's not going to jump back up too drastically anytime soon, but overall I think this is a sign of a decently well supplied and balanced market. If I go for a 3 month chart here, 10 million around that price is where Caracal have been meandering for a while now, and so I think that that's actually the way it's been going for the Tech 1 market for a little bit. Here is the 3 month chart for the Dominics, starting at 192, ending at 186, a little bit higher, a little bit lower. Still all of this is looking quite okay. It looks like a little bit of a spurt up at the tail end here, so we might actually break out just a little bit. As you can see, supply is gone as well, so I think someone just came in here, bought a lot of Dominixes, and this is why we have this slight uptrend. But I think it won't be long before supply will come right back, correct that, and keep, like, I'd say 188, 190 for an average price for a Dominix in the last 3 months. Everything seems to be decently stable. Here is the Drake chart, for instance, starting at 49, ending at 46.5. That's a little bit lower, Dominix a little bit higher. Overall, well supplied. If I look at numbers here, 18, 14 on the buyers. This all feels decently well balanced. Here is the Magnate chart. I think I should go back for the 1 month chart here to show you guys that it's been really balanced here as well. And then the Talos. Yeah, a few weeks ago it went up as high as 72.5, and it seems to be able to hold that mark. But if I look at some of the numbers here, 18, 13, 16, those are a little bit bigger than the buy order numbers, so this is probably going to correct back down. Again, the Tech 1 market has been well supplied since Cryos and before Cryos, but people are not dumping their stocks or anything like that. They're being pretty patient. They're waiting for opportunities with higher prices to bring their stocks to the market, causing some corrections, but there are no signs of either a clear uptrend or a clear downtrend in the Tech 1 market. And unfortunately, there goes my neighbor again, so I hope that this won't last too long. But let's move on to the Tech 2 market, 11.25 for that. I'll just touch on these on a 6-month chart to have a quick look at some of the trends here. Absolution starting to go down finally, but still way too high to invest in. Astarte holding at 290, that's quite surprising. If you can produce Astartes, I would say this is looking pretty good for you to sell them at a very high price. Claymore command chip, terrible chart, but I think it's finally starting to correct back, slowly trending towards 260. So the command chips, you know, here the Damnation, it looks like they're finally coming off of their highs from the Alliance tournament, but it's still too early to say that it's okay to start investing in command chips once again. I think they still have a ways down to go. Here is the Eagle, a hack used a lot by the Brave Coalition. And that one, yeah, trending back down after a nice spike to 220, breaking 180, I'd say closer to 160, 170 before you start investing in that. As you can see, touched 170 for a moment, jumped back up to 180, and now it's just still slowly going down there. So wait a little bit, but the Eagle might come into an interesting position soon. The EOS, again, coming off of its high finally. Starting to come closer to 320, but as you can see here, 280, 290 is a lot better for the expectation of higher prices. The Guardian has been decently low, still holding below 135. Any signs here? Supply 21, 22. That's still pretty big. But they are also older than a day, so once this dries up, maybe an upswing might be in the making here. I think it's interesting for investment opportunities here. The Guardian, they're pretty low. Here is the Hound, nice little spike here on the Hound in the works, so I'd say the buy opportunity is gone. This is more of a sell opportunity, and as you can see, it's done that a few times here. Spike to 25, spike to 21. If you can pick them up at between 18 and 19, I think you're looking at decent investments for Hounds. Manticore is coming right off a spike up to 25, now going back down again. The trigger seems to be below 21 for the Manticore here. Again, I do think these charts show you that there are decent investment opportunities. The Nemesis pretty good for maybe an investment opportunity, going pretty low, starting to head towards 19 million. Coming off of a spike that as high as 28 million. So as you can see, obviously once they reach 19, they take off to like 23 here, 23 here, 23 here again, and then 28. Nice spiky behavior, pretty good I think for people that are looking for trade opportunities. The Nighthawk command chips, it's trying, but it's just not going down at the moment. In fact, here data point very high above 270. It's slowly trying to head towards 260, but I think we can expect lower prices for the Nighthawk later on in the year. Here is the Purifier, also as you can see, nice spiky behavior here below 18.5, 21 million, 23.5 million, correcting back to 19, back up to 23, and now back in a correction phase. So a little bit early, I think, to invest in purifiers, but the trade opportunities, I think they are pretty obvious on this chart here. Same with Scimitar, pretty low at the moment, below 145 million. Coming off of a spike at 170 with a little bit of a plateau, but you can see the correction has been quite severe, and so we once again are, I think, in more of an investment territory for scimitars. Although only 2 spikes over 6 months, it does seem like the scimitar is a pretty quiet market. Sleipnir here finally coming off of its high as well. Still I'd wait something closer to 230, 240 before I'd put any money in that. And then finally the Vulture, that one is correcting quite nicely, starting to come back down towards 260. Still again a ways to go, but I think it's good to see the command chips in general starting to correct from these very high prices. Let's move on to the tech tree market then. 15, 30, well 40 are right on that. That's not looking too good, despite the fact that the Legion here is trying a little bit of a spike back up to 136, 137 maybe. Yeah, 127 for the sellers, 133 for the buyers. But you can see supply is coming right back here. The buy orders are 1 to 2, the sellers 12, 10, 14, and they're coming back in full force to take advantage of this momentary spike up of a few million. So the oversupply, I think, is still here. Here is the Loki, clearly trending down for the month, and still we have 25, 34, 29, 81. These are pretty big sell orders to chew through for the market. Nothing close to that on the buy order side, which is as low as 127. So yeah, the downtrend in the tech tree market, I think it's pretty obvious here. Proteus again managing to hold on, but as you can see, huge numbers of orders still coming in. Less than 24 hours ago, a lot of competition here to try and get that 134 million, but I think they'll have to go lower if they really want to sell their Protei, and it's only a matter of time before someone cracks on the supply side, says okay, it's fine, couple million lower, I'll try and sell a few. So yeah, oversupply here. This is a Tengu market, clearly breaking 134 here, heading as low as 132. Yeah, 132.2 for the sellers, and still it's 8 of them coming in on the latest sell order, 82.64. Tech tree market, it's been like that for years, way oversupplied, and I don't think this is going to change unless CCP decides that it's time to finally rebalance the tech tree ships. And then for the extra materials, I'm going to take a suggestion and have a look at some of the compressed ores, but I've been very hesitant to do this because it's a very young market that is actually struggling to get off of its feet. So let's start, for instance, with some compressed dense feldspar. Buyers 2100, sellers 2200, something like that. But take a look at the numbers: 1 million, 1 million again for the 2 other orders here. 500,000 is the biggest sell orders, or the other ones are in the thousands or tens of thousands. So you're seeing way more demand than supply in the compressed market, and I actually think it's not because there's this huge demand all of a sudden. This demand has always been there. It's just that people have not put in the logistics to bring that much compressed ore to the market just yet, which is why we're seeing a lot of action in the mineral market. People are still refining their ores and bringing the minerals to the market, when I think there's more money to be made in the compressed market. If you look at supply demand, let's for instance take compressed feldspar, one of the most common ones I think, and the best chance to actually be a bit more stable. You can see still holding at 2100 to 2050 over the 1 month period. Let's have a look at supply demand. 6.7 million, 1 million, 400,000, 400,000, 800,000 right here. On the supply side, 200,000, 100,000. They're just much smaller numbers, and so I do think that the compressed ore market is still a healthy one to try and make some money in at the moment. Let's take a look here at compressed plagioclase. Look at that, 1.5 million, 4 million units on the buy order side, nowhere near that on the sell order side. Prices starting at 7,600, as high as 8,400 now. There is huge demand for this stuff, but the market is still so young that I think we're just not seeing the numbers, because you would expect a much more stable situation between supply and demand. If you look at the mineral market, There's also much more demand than supply, but you don't have these half-empty pages of sell orders. So it's just a very young market. There's a lot of money to be made in there, I think, for sure. But you have to give it some time. The high-sec miners have to get off of their habit of refining all their minerals and bringing that to the market, moving towards compressing their ores and bringing that to the market. I think we'll slowly start to see that trend, but it's just not there yet, which is why I think it's very hard to take a good look at the compression market at the moment. Just because the situation is so out of whack. The nullsec guys, they're fully aware of that. They have huge funds, huge numbers behind them. They want to build super capitals and capitals. That demand is there, but it's really the mindset of the high-sec miners and mining corporations that has to change in order for this market to become a more normal one with supply-demand dynamics. At the moment, it's just, people sometimes try to get a bit higher prices, but that huge demand is there, of course, and it's just very slow for high-sec to actually pick up on that and start to bring this market into balance. We're not seeing, I think, let me maybe do another quick search and go over a couple of charts here. We're not seeing like higher prices across the board on this, but what you're seeing, here for instance, compressed fiery kernite, that's pretty high here. Let's have golden umber here, that's up as well from like 9,000 to almost 10,000. So a lot of them I think are going higher, but it's not really supply demand related at the moment. Let's see, compressed umber here, trying to go up just a little bit from 9,000 to 10,000. But a big aspect of this, I think, is how young the market is and how hard it is for people to actually switch to, we'll start compressing that for money instead of making the minerals. Here's the Feldspar chart, pretty stable, probably also the biggest market because of how often you see that. Maybe compressed condensed scordite, let's search that, starting at 3,150, ending at 3,300, something like that. So most of them are slowly going up. There's huge demand for it, but I think that there's still a lot of people that are just refining for their minerals, bringing that to the market instead of compressing, where I think the margins will still be much higher than before. Anyways, that's it for this Eve Talk then, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.